What is up, YouTube? Jonny here again today, and we're going to be bringing you a new episode for the IS300 project build. We are now on episode number 6, and today looks like we need to work on it a little bit. Looking down here, I still haven't put on the belt for it. The radiator's still missing. I still want to do maintenance on it, so I think that today we're actually going to go out and buy some stuff. So I'm going to show you guys where I buy some of the products that I like to use in my vehicles. Where I get deals and stuff like that. Just a quick flashback to the episode before. The welds, as I said, weren't very pretty. Being that I don't really have a good welder here at the dealership. The nice welders run anywhere between 5 to 10 grand, so we're not gonna have one of those here. But another thing that I told you guys is that if you didn't have a welder, is that you could use self-tapping screws. So in this case, I grinded down the welds back again. Didn't really like the way that they looked. And I actually went ahead and did self-tapping screws on them. So that's how it looks. They're actually all the way down. They just have a little bit of bevel, and it helps it, to reinforce it. There's obviously so many different types of self-tapping screws. That's all you really need, is just need it to go through, hold it all together. So that's another way to do it, in case you don't have a welder or don't have a friend with a welder. That'll work, and it'll actually be really sturdy. We're gonna go ahead and go right now to go pick up some parts before they close. It's about 2:30, so we need to go do that before they close, because it's Saturday, and on Saturday they close early, around 3. So we're gonna go do that real quick. Alright guys, we just got the Performance Radiator, which is the name of the company, funny enough, but it's actually a really high quality radiator that looks like stock, but it's way better build quality. That's why I like dealing with them. Now we're on our way to Pep Boys because I need to get some maintenance stuff. I need to get the belt, just gotta get little things here and there, oil. So let's go ahead and go there so we can get this car up and running and actually drivable without having to worry about it overheating or anything, because right now it doesn't have a radiator, it doesn't have antifreeze, it doesn't even have a power steering fluid right now, so the steering wheel is actually really stiff. So we're turning up on Pep Boys right now. I do a lot of deals with them just because of the fact that I could just call them, they'll send me the part, I just sign it off, and then we just pay them at the end of the month. They've made it the easiest for me, so I deal a lot with them, and they give me really good deals. Alright, looks like we got everything that we needed for today to be able to work on the car today and actually have something to do. So now we are heading back to the dealership. Alright, we just got back, laid it out here for you guys. This is the radiator. Comes in its nice little packaging. So all I have to do is go ahead and take it out of there. And then right over here, we ended up buying some antifreeze, about 2 gallons with it, 50/50 premix. I got some oil, buy it in boxes. So I got 6 of them. The car only needs like 5.5, 5 3/4. This is actually Pennzoil synthetic. They just rename it, for Pep Boys. And then I got a Dayco Serpentine Belt, just so it's nice and quiet. Got a Fram filter for it. And then I got some right stuff just for whatever I need to seal up. When I like to do the hoses, I like to give them a little bit of right stuff to just make sure that they don't leak. Right now, I went ahead and got both of the radiators that I actually have for the vehicle and the fan assemblies, and it looks like they're a little bit different. This is the one on the Mishimoto, and as you guys can see, it's completely shattered, and the bolts on it, it's got 3 on this side, and then it's got 2 on this side and 1 over there. And then on the JDM version, it has the bolts kind of flipped, and they don't really line up with the ones over here, so I'm not even going to be able to use the fan assembly that came with the JDM front clip. So I'm actually going to have to go and buy a fan assembly now. Oh well, it happens. Didn't really think about it, but obviously, you know, everything is different in Japan. Don't really want to say backwards because maybe we're backwards. So we're gonna go ahead and install what we have, get it running, do the maintenance, do an oil change. Yep, let's go ahead and do that. All right, the first thing we're gonna go ahead and install is the Serpentine Belt. I don't really remember how it goes because of the fact that when I first got the car, I just went ahead and cut the old one off and didn't really pay attention. So let's figure that out real quick. Looks like I guessed it on the first try. So now all we have to do is move the tensioner over. Make sure the belt is lined up properly on all of the pulleys, and then just let it go. And there we go. Serpentine belt is on. Well, I just got another surprise. So it turns out that the cooling system is completely different in the JDM version. So I was planning on using the top radiator hose from the JDM one for this one, but it doesn't fit either, so I'm gonna have to go buy one. So I'm gonna just throw that away. And then another thing is that the power steering is leaking. I bought power steering fluid and I need to repair what it's ever leaking. And actually I found out the hose that's leaking, it's right here. As you guys can see, it has a big cut through there, and it's actually really stiff. So it being really stiff, you know, with the little movement that it had from the accident, it actually pushed the lines back for the power steering and caused it to crack. So I'm gonna need to buy one of these hoses. Luckily, you know, you could just buy a foot of hose and just replace it, because if you go to the Lexus dealership, well, we all know how it goes at the Lexus dealership. It's pretty expensive. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna have to go to O'Reilly's, and if they don't have it, since they're the closest one, the second closest one is AutoZone. So I don't discriminate. Whoever has it, whoever has the best price for it, I'll go buy it from them. Let's go do that. Okay, we just got back. I had to go to O'Reilly's, and then they didn't actually have the top radiator hose, so I had to go to AutoZone next. But at O'Reilly's, they did have the hose, which is this right here. I just bought a foot of regular, you know, hose, so that way it gives me that same effect. same size and everything, and it's about the same length also, so it'll cover, you know, what I have to replace. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same clamps that are on it. And then the hose, it's actually a cut to fit, so I'm gonna have to cut it to be able to fit it, because if you guys look down here, it's a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna have to try to get the best angle on it and go ahead and cut it. Okay, so now I have the power steering hose right here. I've gone ahead and put the clamps from the old one in this little heat shield that it has. Went ahead and used it again, because it always protects the hose, you know, keeps it from getting too brittle and cracking. Although the other one did, but it was because it was already really old. It's the car back from 2002 and we're now in 2016, so it's quite a bit of years. So let's go ahead and install this to be able to fix our power steering leak and actually have power steering, because right now the steering wheel is really stiff. So I'm going to be using this right here. It's called the Right Stuff. I use this on everything when I want to reassure myself that something's not going to leak, because that's the worst possible feeling, that you just did a couple hours on a job and it turns out it's leaking and you have to disassemble everything all over again and reseal it to make sure that it's not leaking anymore. So this is just like an extra insurance to make sure it's not leaking. It's really strong stuff. It's almost like glue. Once you put this on, it makes the part really difficult to remove. So make sure you use it accordingly and don't use too much. I'm gonna use it on these just because I don't want my power steering to be leaking out anymore. One of the hoses I'm actually gonna be reusing, and it's a little old, so I want to make sure that it has a proper seal. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so this hose that we're gonna be replacing is gonna be going from this one right here to this one right here, coming out of this little power steering reservoir. So from here to here is where we're going to be hooking it up, just like that. And then if you guys take a look at this one, this is the one that I'm going to be reusing, which is this hose right here. It's not brittle enough, so it's still pretty good, but it is leaking. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Right Stuff on this to make sure that it gets a proper seal. So what I do is I just pour out a little bit, get it onto my finger, and I'll just rub it around. Just make sure you get a nice even coat. That way when you put the hose on, you get a good seal. Okay. Go ahead and do this other one right here. And you want to make sure you use gloves, because this isn't something that's easily removable. You don't want to have it on your hands. Let's put that to the side. Let's go ahead and put the hose on. There we go, we got both of the hoses on. Just gotta make sure to kind of adjust it and just go ahead and put the clamps on now. Clamps are a little tricky sometimes. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is install the radiator hose, which we actually have to cut to size, so we're going to measure it up, just kind of guesstimate it and give it a nice cut so that way it fits properly. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so to measure it up, what I did is I went ahead and put it onto one side, and we just need to go ahead and make sure the hose is long enough. So I want it to end up around this area right here. So what we're actually going to do is try to line it up and just go ahead and chop this off. It's because it's a cut to fit hose. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. This is the JDM clamp. There's not really much JDM about it, but it doesn't fit either. None of this radiator stuff fits. It's ridiculous. So I went ahead and got the clamp off of the Mishimoto, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. This one's actually too small to even fit over the USDM radiator. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one and put the original one because it's just not working. There we go. Look how easy that one was. Alright, so now that we have the cooling system all sealed off, I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this antifreeze, the 50/50 premix. So I actually got it there from the guys at Performance Radiator. They make really good stuff, and it's actually really good deal, $8. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this. This is gonna take a while. One of these is never enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in another one. Did I do the finger thing right? I hope this fits. Nothing seems to fit on this car. Oh! That actually fits. That's the very first part from the radiator system that actually fits. At least I can say I have a JDM radiator cap. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the reservoir for this power steering fluid. I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. It's a complete fluid replacement. It works for GM vehicles, Ford vehicles, and Chrysler vehicles. This is a Lexus, but I went ahead and read this little cap right here, and it actually says to use Dextron type ATF. So Dextron is GM. So that's what they use in the Chevy vehicles, which is this. So we're gonna go ahead and use this. Most of the time you can actually use, like it says there, just automatic transmission fluid. I'm gonna use actual power steering fluid. It does the same effect. It's a hydraulic pump. So all it needs is hydraulic fluid to be able to function properly. So now that we fixed the lines, we're gonna go ahead and fill it up. Now that I sort of topped off the radiator and the power steering reservoir, I actually need to go ahead and turn on the vehicle and let all the fluids run through the system. That way we can let out any air bubbles and fill up all of the lines. Because right now they're a little bit filled to the top, but as soon as I turn on the car, everything should start running through the system and just fill in all the gaps. And then we might need to add some more, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on now. So I was on Craigslist the other day looking for some parts for the IS, because obviously I'm still looking for the air intake because it's still missing, and you can't just really go buy one at the dealership because they're fairly expensive. So I'm looking for one on Craigslist, and I don't know if I want to buy an aftermarket one for it yet. I think I prefer to just keep it stock, just because of the fact that the stock air intake is actually better than any pod filter you can put. They actually end up removing horsepower, so I'm gonna try to get a stock one. If I can't, I'm gonna get a cold air intake, that comes with its own little box, just to keep the filter protected from the heat from the engine, or one that just goes down all the way to the fender area, down here, like underneath the light, so that way it's far away from the engine and it's not absorbing all the heat. But I ran across this. This is the engine cover. Mine didn't have it. I saw it. The guy gave it to me for like $30. I was like, why not? I'm gonna go get it. What it does is it covers up this whole area. And that's how it looks. It covers up the 2JZ in a sense, but I feel like it looks a lot cleaner. You know, just shine it up. Makes the engine compartment look a lot nicer. So that was a lucky find at the dealership. That thing probably runs for $100 or probably even more, because the parts for this Lexus have by far been a lot more expensive than the parts for any FRS or BRZ, and those cars are 2014s, 2015s, and they're, you know, they're both made by Toyota, but just because it has the Lexus logo on it, it's twice as much or even 3 times as much. So pretty ridiculous, but that's what you pay for the, you know, that's the price of luxury. So we are done for today. Just ran out of time, have some other stuff to do. For next week, obviously you guys saw that we got a full oil change down there. So I'm going to be showing you guys a video on how to do your oil change if you have a Lexus IS300. You know, for most people that just want to look it up, and sometimes they don't have videos or the video quality is really terrible. So I'm gonna give you guys a really nice in-depth of how to do your oil change the easy way. So yeah, go ahead and do that. And we are done for today. Peace out.